All right, welcome. And now we are reading the longest of the articles in the Constitution. We were reading Constitution Article 1. And the Article 1, the first article of the Constitution, is all about the legislative branch. And this is the branch of government that the creators of the Constitution knew the most about because under the Articles of Confederation, under the Continental Congress before that, even, a Congress is all they had. And a Congress is legislative, it creates laws. Legislative means to create laws. Uh, and once again, the Constitution was signed September 17th, 1787, and it was ratified, meaning it was made into law, June 21st, 1788. Article 1, the whole article, you're boiling it down into one sentence, establishes the first of the three branches of the government, the legislature, those that create the law. So, Section 1 of Article 1 establishes the name of the legislature to be the Congress, a bicameral body. So, Congress is a legislative body. It makes laws, so therefore it is legislative. Its name is Congress, and it is to be bicameral, two parts. Section 2 defines the House of Representatives. This is the first of the two parts of the Congress. There are requirements, like an over 25 age requirement. You cannot be part of the House of Representatives unless you're 25 years or older, and that members will serve for 2 years. It's very important. That's why this has been made in italics. The members of the House are divided among the states according to size, giving more populous states more representatives in the House. The leader of the House is known as the Speaker of the House, and it is chosen by the members. So, important things to remember about the House of Representatives: it is one of two parts of Congress, and that its members have to be at least 25 years old. Most importantly, they serve for 2 years. Then they have to be reelected. Section 3 defines the upper house of Congress, known as the Senate. The Senate has a 30-year-old age requirement, and senators were originally appointed by the legislatures of the individual states, although this was later changed, and nowadays it is a popular vote to become a member of the Senate. There's a big difference between the House of Representatives and the Senate. House of Representatives, you serve for 2 years. And the Senate, they serve for 6 years. Each state has 2 senators. The Vice President of the United States is the leader of the Senate. However, the Vice President does not vote unless there is a tie in the Senate. Section 4 says that each state may establish its own methods for electing members of the Congress and requires that Congress must meet at least once a year. Section 5 says that Congress must have a quorum, as in most of the members are there, in order to meet, and that it may set fines for those who do not show up. Members may be expelled. Each house, either the representatives or the Senate, must record proceedings and votes. They have to keep a record. And neither house, Senate or House of Representatives, may adjourn, go home, without the permission of the other. So if the House of Representatives wants to go home, but the Senate still has work to do, the House of Representatives cannot go home until the Senate's done, or vice versa. Section 6 establishes that members of Congress will be paid and that they cannot be detained while traveling to and from Congress, and that they cannot hold any other office while in Congress. So I may not be a member of House of Representatives or Senate and also be a judge. I cannot be in the House, the Senate, a judge, and the president. You cannot do that. You pick one. Run for it. If you get elected, that's your only office. Section 7 details how bills become law. First, any bill that's a law that's not been made official yet, dealing with taxes or fees, must start in the House. The Senate cannot write bills concerning taxes or fees. That has to start in the House of Representatives. All bills must pass both houses of Congress in the exact form. So if a senator writes writes a bill, and the Senate votes on it, if the House of Representatives changes it and then votes, it has to go back to the Senate to be re-voted on, because the votes have to be on the exact same thing. Bills that pass both houses are sent to the president. The president can either sign the bill, in which case it becomes law, or the president can veto it. In the case of a veto, the bill is sent back to Congress. If both houses of Congress pass by a 2/3 majority, the bill becomes law anyways. Section 8 lists what is known as the enumerated powers of Congress. Enumerated powers of Congress are powers that are written down in the Constitution. Powers that are listed, enumerated, they're listed. Congress has the power to establish and maintain an army and a navy. They have the power to establish post offices, to create courts, to regulate commerce between the states, to declare war, and to raise money. It also includes a clause, a short paragraph, known as the elastic clause. And the elastic clause allows Congress to pass any law necessary for the carrying out of the previously listed powers. So if there's something not listed in the enumerated powers, and Congress needs to be able to do that other thing to get one of its enumerated powers done, it's allowed. Section 9 of the first article of the Constitution places certain limits on Congress. Certain legal items, such as suspension of habeas corpus, bills of attainder, and ex post facto laws, are prohibited. So habeas corpus is your right to court proceedings, effectively. Bills of attainder are they're really old. The King of England would use bill of attainders to put people in jail without a trial. Congress can't do that. And ex post facto laws are laws that say, it's easier to explain this if I give you an example. But if I say, tomorrow there's going to be a law and it says that any student that has touched a pencil will go to jail. When does that law start? Does it start tomorrow? That would be correct. An ex post facto law would say if the student had touched a pencil before the day that the law starts, that's ex post facto. You cannot punish somebody for a law when the law didn't exist yet. So if I do something, if I burn gasoline in a can in my yard, people don't like it, so they create a law for it. They cannot then punish me unless I do it again. No law can give preference to one state over another. No money can be taken from the Treasury except by a duly passed law. And there are no titles of nobility, such as prince or marquis. None of those may exist. Section 10, the last section, it prohibits the states from several things. They cannot make their own money, so states cannot make their own money. The states cannot declare war, and the states cannot do most of the other things prohibited by Congress in Section 9. So if the Congress can't do it, states can't do it either. The states cannot tax goods from other states, and they cannot have navies. Hopefully, this has been helpful and enlightening.